As eighth graders, we were, writing press releases, we were fundraising. I joke that we were, mini project managers. Number one, working towards a social impact cause, but then also learning how to document that. And so, Mr. T gave me an iPad, and that changed my life. It was, um, just such a moment of exposing me to what I could possibly do with telling stories that not only made an impact, but then also really helped our community see the need in our local area and ways.
Leaders, entrepreneurs, and change agents looking for the opportunity to network and exchange ideas with other trailblazers and to further your brand. The 2.0 conference is for you. Experts from the fields of education, health, internet, marketing, and CXO are welcome to take part in the 2025 conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, March 4th through 6th. Reserve your space today and receive a 10% discount courtesy of EdUp Accelerated Excellence with the code EdUp10OFF. That's EdUp10OFF. Learn more and register online at www.the2conf.com. That's the2conf.com with the code EdUp10OFF.
This episode of EdUp Accelerated Excellence is supported in part by Eastern Connecticut State University. The path to your future begins at Eastern Connecticut State University. Explore a campus buzzing with creativity, innovation, and opportunity. From arts to sciences, we have programs that spark your curiosity and ignite your passion. Don't miss your chance to discover what makes Eastern unique. Visit us online to create your customized viewbook at easternct.edu/journey. That's easternct.edu/journey. Welcome to EdUp Accelerated Excellence, a podcast for the advancement of educational effectiveness and equity across both traditional and non-traditional learning environments and experiences. I am your host for this episode, Jacob Easley II, PhD, PMP. Let's get into it. Welcome back to EdUp Accelerated Excellence, a podcast for the advancement of educational effectiveness and equity, looking at the work that occurs in terms of learning across traditional and non-traditional learning spaces and environments. And today we have a wonderful guest. I had a chance to meet her briefly after I was so inspired by the work that I found through some media searches. We have Eden Strawn with us today. She is the owner and founder of Black Girls Don't Get Love and Black Girls Will Get Love Incorporated. Eden, welcome to EdUp Accelerated Excellence.
Thank you, Dr. Easley. I'm very happy to be here with you today.
So let's just get right into it. And can you tell us a bit about the origin of Black Girls Don't Get Love? And because words and media are so important, can you share that, like I said, the origin, but also the reasoning behind the name of the organization?
Sure, absolutely. So Black Girls Don't Get Love is a book and multimedia coming of age brand for girls of color. I started the organization and the overall media brand in college at Ithaca when I was creating my senior thesis capstone project. And the background and story behind the Black Girls Don't Get Love brand is really inspired by my personal experiences growing up, feeling out of place because of the way that I looked, the way that my hair was, the way that my skin was, and feeling like I was ugly because I didn't fit into traditional European standards of beauty. And really, with that, really wanting to find a coming of age story that allowed me as a Black girl to have a moment to feel seen and celebrated for the skin that I was in. And I'm a huge fan of coming of age movies, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, the Junos, Lady Bird, you name it. I love those stories and I loved watching them as a kid, but feeling like Black girls were largely underrepresented in the coming of age genre was something that I wanted to change, especially through my work. And so Black Girls Don't Get Love is filling that gap through our content, such as the Black Girls Don't Get Love book, but then also through our experiences through our nonprofit arm, Black Girls Will Get Love Inc.
Well, I just have to just say publicly, let's dispel any thoughts or negative thoughts that you may have or others might have. You are an absolutely beautiful soul.
Thank you so much.
And I think I told you that off air because I was following your work and every time I hear you speak, whether it is on an interview or your TED Talk, and even at your events, award shows where you've gotten where you've gotten awards, I always feel inspired by the message you have to bring.
It
So
means a lot. Thank you so much, Dr. Easley. I really do appreciate you watching it for the kind words. It's at least for me, it's really interesting because I studied media to be behind the camera and somehow I found myself on the other side. And so it's been just such a journey, number one, putting myself out there to be in front of the camera, but also to share my story. And I remember kind of in the early days of doing this, like, oh my goodness, what will people think? How will this be received? And just the response has just been so heartwarming. And so thank you for that. It does mean a lot to me.
you're welcome. And I think that is just the plight of a creative and entrepreneur. So anytime you try something new, sometimes while we're hopeful and inspired, we can be our worst critics and our worst saboteurs, so to speak.
Definitely.
So I want to go back to this coming of age, this line. What attracted you to those type of stories, the coming of age, and so why has that particular narrative been important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you talked a little bit about my TEDx, and it was entitled "Who Gets to Be the Girl Next Door?" Really focusing on who gets to have their coming of age moment. And so, really being a kid and watching these stories unfold, um, I remember just wanting to feel that way, wanting to go to prom and fall in love and have that iconic movie moment, and feeling like that wasn't going to happen for me. And kind of wondering why, but still loving those stories. And um, I think with looking at the coming of age genre just from an academic lens, and looking at the representation over the last, let's just say, 3 decades of coming of age films, like um, Black female representation and like a protagonist's role is just missing. And
Mhm.
then when we do find those stories, such as maybe like a story like The Hate U Give at a mainstream level, unfortunately, that coming of age story is burdened with like violence and police brutality. And I argue that that's not coming of age. And really, I think that Black girls need to see not only just Black girls, honestly, mainstream media needs to show Black girls coming of age because um, it has it has a role in shaping how Black girls are perceived. And so that was my argument that the lack of Black female representation in the coming of age genre overall represents the erasure of Black girlhood in society. I point to research done by Georgetown Law Center on poverty and inequality with Girlhood Interrupted, the Erasure of Black Girls' Childhood, and
Mhm.
looking at how Black girls, I believe ages 5 to 14, were perceived as more mature than their white peers of the same age. And so Survey respondents believed that Black girls needed less protection, needed less nurturing, that they needed to be comforted less, supported less, that they knew more about adult-like topics such as sex. And that's sad to see. Specifically, like for me doing this work, wanting to just flip those narratives on their heads and allow Black girls to have those coming of age moments. And so, through our nonprofit arm, really working with our foundation partners and our corporate sponsors to make that possible. And so we've been able to do really cool things such as the Black Girls Don't Get Love prom, slumber party, outdoor exploration, and then our national film training program where kids were coming from across the country to Syracuse to take part in our film education courses. And so it's just been really special. The Black Girls Don't Get Love slumber party took place on Valentine's Day, so a day that's focused on romantic love. We're really pushing self-love and
Mhm.
allowing girls of color to have this moment where they're pampered. They get their hair and nails, makeup, and facials done by local cosmetologists. They get pajamas, slippers. They walk down our pink carpet. They're greeted with roses and tiaras, and it's kind of creating like a mini Disney moment for them. And that's really cool to be able to do in our communities, both like here locally, but we're also excited about the potential of doing it nationally as well.
So we're going to get into those because I know you have multiple activities and services as part of your organization. But when did you first begin to realize the power and the potential of media, particularly as a tool for social change?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. I always talk about my eighth grade teacher, Mr. T, and he was someone that was really pushing boundaries of what traditional education looked like, really focusing on like project-based learning, but then also allowing students to have real-world experiences within that project-based learning framework. And so as eighth graders, we were, writing press releases, we were fundraising, I joke that we were, mini project managers, number one, working towards a social impact cause, but then also learning how to document that. And so Mr. T gave me an iPad and that changed my life. It was um, just such a moment of exposing me to what I could possibly do with telling stories that not only made an impact, but then also really helped our community see the need in our local area and ways that they could get involved. And that really changed my life. The videos that I created were actually recognized by Ithaca College. And so I ended up winning a full scholarship to Ithaca to study media for social change. And that was, a life-changing moment. And that was through the Park Scholarship Program. And then, moving on, same thing, was awarded a full scholarship to an MBA program at Syracuse University. And that's also just, fundamental because I want to use the MBA to really look at how do we make social impact work sustainable.
Well, I have to say kudos to Mr. T, your middle school teacher, also to Ithaca for extending a scholarship for you to continue to nurture and hone your skills, and also for Syracuse University. So that's absolutely amazing. So it
Thank
sounds to me like Mr. T helped you to focus your work on, for one, is developing a voice, and then helping you to see how that voice is able to have a positive social impact in your own neighborhood.
Absolutely. And I appreciate what you said because at least, sometimes teachers can't really see the fruit of their labor or the seeds that they sow. And thankfully, I have been able to stay in contact with him and really just allow him to see the journey and, what an impact he made. But um, I really think that the exposure and giving students the access is also fundamental. And that's why we've had our film training program here in Syracuse, one of the top four cities in the country, for 2 consecutive years, because we want to make sure that we are creating that access. When I wanted to pursue the media industry, I had to go to LA, I had to go to New York and, bootstrap it to try to find a way to get my opportunities. And so, um, to be able to have that industry exposure here in Syracuse. And there's several other wonderful programs here that are also trying to do similar work. And so we're just really excited to be part of it and to be able to collaborate with some of the great folks that are here in our community.
That's beautiful. So now let's talk a bit about Black Girls Don't Get Love. How has um, the organization or the book been a tool to further the aim of nurturing positive self-image among girls of color, and particularly for girls, Black girls? And what programming have you developed around the book? So this is part of the organization, but I know you're going to talk about the book as well.
Absolutely. So really excited to share on the Black Girls Don't Get Love book, which was originally self-published in I believe 2021, is now coming out nationally with Simon and Schuster and Row House Publishers in 2025. So in case anyone's interested in checking that out, please go to our website and pre-order the book. That has been such a phenomenal journey. Number one, getting it to such a national reach, but then also to make sure that students have that coming of age story, hopefully at a mainstream level. And
Mhm.
so with that, we are actively doing work in school districts. So we developed a curriculum around the Black Girls Don't Get Love book. So it's called the Black Girls Don't Get Love Screenwriting Workshop, which was based on our film training program where students were able to take tracks in producing, directing, acting, cinematography, post-production, and screenwriting. And students were literally flying from across the country. They're coming from 10 different states to Syracuse and having that response. Some of the people in our community were like, if people want to come this far for you, you should go to them. And so we started pitching our work, and recently completed a contract in Binghamton, New York, where we moved our entire team there, which was just phenomenal to have everyone there to be able to teach in a school. We had the students twice a week after school for 2 hours, cohort of 25 students, girls of color and non-BIPOC allies, where we taught the fundamentals of storytelling, character development through the framework of the Black Girls Don't Get Love book. And the students at the end of the program, after the 8 sessions, they get to actually pitch their scripts to a panel of media industry judges for a monetary prize. And so that's like, just awesome to give number one stakes for the students. Like it's not just an assignment, but really this is a college level incubator training students about commercial viability, really giving them that leg up in terms of how do you look at the business side of the media industry? Because unfortunately, students are sometimes creating work in a vacuum and they don't have that connection between, yes, I want to make great work, but I also have to sell that great work. And so we're trying to really give them that exposure through our program, and it's just been phenomenal. And in the case that anyone's listening that knows opportunities where this might be a good fit, please definitely reach out on our website, blackgirlsdon'tgetlove.com.
This episode of EdUp Accelerated Excellence is supported in part by Eastern Connecticut State University. The path to your future begins at Eastern Connecticut State University. Explore a campus buzzing with creativity, innovation, and opportunity. From arts to sciences, we have programs that spark your curiosity and ignite your passion. Don't miss your chance to discover what makes Eastern unique. Visit us online to create your customized viewbook at easternct.edu/journey. That's easternct.edu/journey.
Experts from the fields of education, health, internet, marketing, and CXO are welcome to take part in the 2025 2.0 conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, March 4th through 6th. Reserve your space today and receive a 10% discount courtesy of EdUp Accelerated Excellence with the code EdUp10OFF. That's EdUp10OFF. Learn more and register online at www.the2conf.com. That's the2conf.com with the code EdUp10OFF.
So listen, I hear you because representation matters, and you hear this a lot, and you're hearing this a lot from artists of color when they talk about their industry, whether it be the small screen, i.e. television, or the big silver screen in movies. But as I think about that phrase that representation matters, I think it's more than just about representation who's on the screen. It's also about having um, the production level and those who, for example, those who write, those who produce, those who can tell the story, and then knowing also the business side of this industry, how to bring those to the fore for public consumption. So it seems as though your screenwriting efforts are developing students broadly. So what age levels are able to access the screenwriting workshops?
Absolutely. So a school district will purchase the program and it can serve grades 5 to 12. And
Hmm.
so, for example, in our last contract, we had the program take place at a middle school. And so the students from the elementary school were bussed over, school students from the high school were bussed over, and everyone met at the middle school after school. And it was phenomenal because, we have kids with our program, we actually make students apply to be in it. So it's not just your school buys it, you're going to get in. You actually need to do that work. And we're trying to stimulate, or excuse me, um, we are trying to simulate the experience of having real world stakes for the students. So it's not like they are not having to work to get in the program. We actually have them do personal statement essays. They have to do a resume, and sometimes funny because they'll say like, "What's a resume?" And that's like, cute. And we're very happy to like, give them that exposure to be like, yeah, like we can help you. We know it's just your clubs. We know it's just maybe you don't have an after school job yet or whatever, but at least giving that exposure is just phenomenal because then they finally have that chance to, start to think about professional development, career and college readiness and all that. And really just understand that in the real world, you have to prove why you want to be somewhere and you have to compete to get a spot. And so allowing them to have that in a safe space where we want to support them, we want to make sure that they have the tools that they need to succeed. It's just wonderful. It's really my life's work, and I'm really proud of it.
So it sounds as though the application simulates in some ways how one would govern themselves in the industry, trying to get a project greenlit.
Yeah, it's
So,
it's it's almost supposed to replicate, like for me, I had the fortune of, being an Emmys intern, interning at CNN, all these, big companies. And it's not like you're the only person applying. You have to earn your spot. And
right.
so the application process is supposed to replicate these larger incubators. And so we're a smaller organization, but we operate in the framework of these larger organizations because we want to make sure that the students have that training so that when they are ready to apply for these major media companies, they at least understand the stakes and the competitive nature of the programs that they're applying to, and hopefully they'll rise to the occasion using the tools that we provide them.
That's wonderful. So
Thank you.
we know that there are districts that are struggling financially. And it is probably reasonable to say that not all districts have faculty or staff who are trained in media studies. So I remember we had electives in middle school, well, and also we had electives in high school, but we had sort of the vocational and arts slash electives in middle school. So you would choose for a semester what you wanted to take, whether it be, art, it could be course, it could be, now we used to call it home economics. But does your organization provide resources and supports to districts that may not have qualified faculty or staff to teach some of these courses?
So the schools that are interested in our services, they really just can purchase the program, and then we actually go in and we do all the work. So they don't have to have someone on staff that has that expertise. That is our area of expertise. And so, myself having worked at many of the major media companies, I fly in some of my teammates from Texas, from Atlanta, from New York City, from California, and we go to the school. So really, it's really about the school wanting the program, bringing us in, and allowing us the opportunity to work with the students.
Okay, so that's very helpful.
Mhm.
So as you work with young ladies, what are you learning um, that has shaped your work in ways that you perhaps didn't anticipate?
That's a great question. Um, I I really love the work because um, it shows me the challenges that are still like persisting in our society today. Just seeing number one, the poverty of some of the students, it makes me want to work even harder, which sometimes I feel like I can't even possibly work harder, but as much as I possibly can, try to give someone the tools that they need so that when we are done with our work, they can still be able to progress. And just kind of seeing that it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking to see the circumstances that some of the students are under. And, at least for us, like hoping that we can build a relationship with the district. So, number one, we can come back, but then also, the students can then apply for our summer opportunities too. So hopefully they can stay in touch and we can continue to help them grow. But I think, yeah, just seeing just the things that people are going through, it always exposes you to things that you n might not have thought about because um, just that humanity has to be in this work. I think like if we ever lose like that touch and the empathy of like what our trainees are going through, it it desensitizes us to why this is important.
So I'm going to have you for a minute to tease out. One is programming that schools can avail themselves of by purchasing your package, and your faculty, your staff members um, will then go to the schools and provide the training. Is that the 8 sessions?
Yes, so it's a month-long program, so it takes place twice a week, for 2 hours, for a total of 4 weeks. And so we do the 8 sessions in a month, or in the case that a district is really excited about it and they want to bring in more students, we have an 8-week program that accommodates a cohort of 40 students.
And then you also have a summer program.
Yes, so
Okay,
we have
talk a bit about that one.
absolutely. So we have a summer enrichment program too. And so we'll go in and do a week-long summer enrichment in a school district. And then we also have our own independent foundation sponsored film training program that takes place. It's taken place here in Syracuse for the last couple of years, and we have some universities interested in buying it as a recruitment tool. So it probably will take place outside of Syracuse next year.
Okay, and so that will be for the summer enrichment program, students can apply independently, not necessarily through the school district.
So for the film training program,
The training program, yes.
yes. Hmm.
Excellent. So let's talk a bit about Black Girls Will Get Love Incorporated. How did that come about?
Well, it really happened all because of wanting to provide that coming of age moment, honestly. And not just a moment, but an experience. And so bringing the book to life was something that I thought was really important. And so after originally self-publishing the book and figuring out like what is next, and how can I, build momentum around this? I created Black Girls Will Get Love, established our board, and really got to work in building out what Black Girls Don't Get Love really meant in real life. And um, our work is our mission statement is using media to turn silence into language and change the way Black women and girls are perceived in society. And that's a nod to Audre Lorde, and really her piece on the transformation of silence into action. And her quote that says, turn silence into language because your silence will not protect you. And so with that, I really wanted to use that as my call to action to speak up against microaggressions, of course, but also to create that coming of age moment and experience in my community and also nationally.
So I think it's important because we're talking about words, and this is a podcast, the power of words, that is. This is a podcast, and so we aren't necessarily projecting video. So can you just sort of narrate for us a success story of one or more of your girls who have participated in any of the activities or experiences?
Absolutely. So at least for our last screenwriting workshop, I had a participant that came in on the first day and she, sat in the back, she had her hood on, she didn't want to talk to other girls that were in the program. And um, we worked with her and just trying to be consistent, trying to be empathetic, trying to be supportive, and also provide the resources that she needed. She on the last day on the pitch event, went on stage, wearing professional clothing, got up there, presented her work, and um, the assistant principal came up to me afterwards and he's like, how'd you guys do that? And at least for me, I was like, I just really wanted to make sure that she felt seen, that she felt like she had what she needed to succeed, and that we helped her build confidence. And um, that I think is one of my greatest successes because, we're only there for as long as our contracts last, but we want to make sure that we give the tools that can last beyond the time that we're actually there in person.
That's absolutely wonderful. One thing that I'm learning from the various episodes of this podcast is the importance of mindset. And so when you made the statement that the student felt seen, yes, that's something that happens given the context, and to internalize that others do value you and perhaps your perspectives in this case and what you have to bring to the community and share with the community. But internally, it also changes how we begin to think about ourselves. So it does change that mindset. And so when you said that, it just reminded me of this kind of recurring theme of the importance of mindset. So even with your work in filmmaking, the narratives are important for shaping how others see um, young women of color,
Mhm.
particularly young Black girls. And so I think that this is very good work. As one of our episode guests in the past called it heart work. So this is a work of love in so many ways, and it really comes through even in how you describe it.
Thank you so much. I love the term heart work because anybody that does this, they know like it is hard. It is really hard. And I think that the sustainability behind it is really like, do I love this? And is this something that I see an impact taking place? But then also, is it sustainable financially? And so at least with us, like really focusing on like, how do we not take advantage of our target audience, but also still, have a program that can sustain itself? And with purchasing, or excuse me, with the districts purchasing this program, it has allowed us to accomplish both of those goals to make sure we're serving and that we're providing access, but then also not doing it at a disadvantage to ourselves.
So speaking of sustainability,
Mhm.
can the EdUp Accelerated Excellence community look forward to from Black Girls Don't Get Love, Black Girls Will Get Love, and in terms of events and services, but also how might individuals or groups get involved?
People can support us through pre-ordering the book at blackgirlsdon'tgetlove.com. And they also can support us by spreading the word to school district administrators. We actively are booking our screenwriting workshops for the upcoming school year. And so if this is something that is of interest, please definitely reach out to us at blackgirlsdon'tgetlove.com. And we would love to talk more about it.
And Black Girls Will Get Love is sort of your philanthropic arm.
That's correct. Yes, but everyone can find us on blackgirlsdon'tgetlove.com.
And they can donate as well to Black
Yes,
Girls
if
Will
they're
Get Love.
interested. Yeah, if they're interested, they can find us. All of our links and our donate and all that stuff is on blackgirlsdon'tgetlove.com.
Absolutely wonderful. So, Eden Strong, thank you so much for the opportunity to learn with and from you here at EdUp Accelerated Excellence.
Thank you so much, Dr. Easley. This was a very fun conversation, and I am just very happy that we were able to share the space. I really do appreciate the support.
You're most welcome. Thank you for engaging with the EdUp Accelerated Excellence community. You can find this episode and others on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Music. And if you like this episode, please don't forget to follow us and share within your network.